AITA telling my wife I can't trust her after she didn't text me about towels. My wife and I are in our 30s. I had a stroke last year, which was stressful, but I am doing well. Had aphasia as a side effect. I pass as normal to most people. Since the stroke, our communication is worse. Sometimes when I talk to her, she says I'm mean, and she cries and I have no idea why. I don't know if I'm misspeaking, or she's sensitive, or if something I say is actually mean. This didn't happen much before the stroke, but it happens a lot now. I try to be nice when we talk. Today, I took my kids to swim class. I got the and realized I had forgotten towels. I texted my wife, and she offered to go home and get towels and bring them to me. I replied thanking her. I got the kids in the pool and called her. She was still at work and said her car was blocked in and she was finding the person who blocked her in. Her coworkers were getting her towels and she would come to the pool when she could. I didn't hear from her for 15 minutes. I considered asking the front desk for towels or sun drying the kids, but I was just stuck because I didn't know if my wife was coming. I know some people would handle the uncertainty better, but it stressed me out. She showed up with the towels, we talked, and she left. I didn't say much because I was feeling upset and am very careful if I'm upset and talking to my wife. When she got home, she offered to finish dinner and put down the kids, since she knew I had been with them all afternoon. I said sure, since I still had some work left. I asked if it was okay to talk, and she said okay. I told her I feel like I can't trust her when I ask her to do something because she won't update me if there are unforeseen circumstances. I was careful to say I wasn't criticizing her, just sharing how I felt. I could tell she was upset. I asked her if she understood me, and she repeated it back to me. It sounded like she understood. I asked her if I said something mean. She said Thatch didn't blame me, but that it hurt her feelings that I would complain to her without thanking her or thinking about how hard she worked to get me the towels. I told her that I did thank her, immediately texted, "Thank you," when she said she would come. She also said something sarcastic like, "And you're welcome for coming home and offering to take the kids." What does my gratitude have to do with not trusting her? I appreciate everything she does for me. The offer to do my chores is very nice, but I guess it came with strings. If she does that for me, then I can only feel gratitude. So I told her not to bother. I also said something like, "Don't do me any favors," which I guess is not the nicest choice of words. I think she's the because she is self-absorbed and can't be there for me when I have negative emotions. I think I might be the because she's upset and I know she tries to give me the benefit of the doubt, and if so I'm hoping Reddit can explain it to me. AITA for canceling the birthday party I plan to throw for my wife after what she did. I am 36, remarried after my late wife passed away. I have a son, 15. My current wife and I have been together for 2 years. She generally has a good relationship with my son, although they tend to have some disagreements from time to time. My son has background in arts that involve wood. He used to help his grandfather with his woodworking and learned how to make handmade wooden items and use them as gifts. I planned a dinner party for my wife's birthday at a prestigious restaurant. The day before the party, she was cleaning my son's room and saw what he got her for her birthday, and that was a wooden tree with mine, hers, and his name on it. She talked with him and told him while she thought it was a sweet gift, she asked that he don't bring it to the restaurant and give it to her there. Why? No idea. When my son told me this, I just had to call her out on it. She flat out said that she thought the gift looked ridiculous and she didn't want it to be seen in that prestigious restaurant and in front of her guests. I lost it on her and told her she should be ashamed of herself for saying this when my son was being sincere and thoughtful. She swore she wasn't ashamed nor embarrassed by his work and even said she'll take the gift, but she simply didn't want it to be seen there. I told her not to worry about it since I decided to cancel the whole thing. She went off on me, calling me unreasonable for outright canceling her birthday over such trivial thing. I refused to keep arguing, but she threw a fit about how I ruined her birthday and made her lose respect for me and my promises. My son kept the gift since she left THD house 2 days ago, and her mom has been chewing me out for me decision and calling me an asshole for treating her daughter like this. It could be that it was not a big deal and I overreacted, but my son was feeling hurt by her request. AITA for giving my mom the wrong start time for my birthday lunch so she'd be on time. My 22F mom, mid 40 feet F, is one of those people who is always late to everything. I'm talking family get-togethers, birthdays, graduations, weddings, you name it, she's showing up late. At first growing up I just thought it was because she's bad with time, but as I've gotten older I genuinely believe she likes making an entrance. I personally find it 1, rude and 2, embarrassing. Because it's not like it happens once in a while, it literally happens at every single function Shay's invited to that has a set time. Many family members have complained about this, nothing ever changes. It's gotten to the point that whenever my grandma has family lunches or dinners she'll tell me, "Mom, it starts an hour earlier than it actually does, so she'll be there on time." My mom doesn't know that my grandma does this. It's a joke between grandma and I. This past weekend was my 22nd birthday. My grandma wanted to do a lunch for me at her place with our immediate family. The lunch was to start at 2 p.m., but we told my mom 1 p.m. I had plans later that evening to go out for dinner with my boyfriend, so I wanted to leave my grandma's house at around 5, the absolute latest, because I needed to go home and get all ready. Well, of course my mom was late. We called her at like 2:30 p.m. to see where she was because it's her daughter's birthday. She had just left her house at 2:30 p.m. and still had to pick up her BF on her way to my grandma's, 30 to 35 minutes away, so none of us were expecting her to arrive until like 3:30 p.m. She finally arrives 2.5 hours late from the time we told her, makes her little entrance. We question her about. She tells us she thought the lunch started at 2. We asked her where she heard this from. She said my aunt, who was present at the lunch, told her. We questioned my aunt and she said she felt bad lying to my mom. Everyone is pretty annoyed, but we all move on. Fast forward an hour later, 4:30 p.m. I have to start leaving. My mom starts getting all annoyed with me that I'm leaving so soon, and that she barely got to see me for my birthday. I told her that my life doesn't revolve around her, and that she should have been there sooner. She started giving me attitude and listing all these excuses as to why she's late. I couldn't be bothered to hear them and left. Later that night she messaged me saying that I was acting like an awe towards her and it was rude of me to lie to her about the time the lunch started. My mom and my aunt think I'm an awe for lying to her. My grandma doesn't think it's a big deal and they're overacting. I came here for some outside opinions. AITA for telling my dad he feels like my siblings and I are half siblings because of choices he made. So my parents had 4 children together. Me, 19F, Jaden, 17 meters, Remy, 10F, and Jonah, 6 meters. 5 years ago we lost our mom. 4 years ago Dad remarried. Jaden and I didn't mind, though we knew Dad's wife would never be our mom. Jonah was a baby and didn't remember Mom, so he started to see Dad's wife as his only mom. Remy sees herself as having 2 moms. She's not as close to Dad's wife as Jonah is, but doesn't see her as a non-parent like Jaden and me. Dad asked me and my brother not to talk about Mom around Jonah in case it interfered in the relationship he built with Dad's wife. He said he would know about Mom but didn't need to hear all about her all the time. With Remy, he said to Leather ask but try not talk about Mom around her if Shay didn't ask. We respected that, although we disagreed with his decision. He said we had years with Mom. They were young enough that seeing his wife as Mom would be healthier for them. He also said that his wife deserved the chance to be known as Mom since she'd be raising them for the rest of their childhood and it would be over a decade for both of them. I love all my siblings. But I know Remy used to be frustrated with Jaden and me because we wouldn't celebrate Dad's wife for Mother's Day, or because we would go to Mom's grave without her, or would talk about Mom without her. But again, that was what Dad told us to do. Jaden even told Dad AITA annoyed her and he told us to keep sticking to our word. When she did ask, we would include her. But we also didn't share the same love for Dad's wife. With Jonah, he struggles to understand how Remy has 2 moms. Jaden and I are siblings, but we have a different mom. About a year ago, he said we were his adopted siblings and that's how he made it make sense. We started to correct him, but Dad cut us off. So we left it alone. It did mean that Jonah kind of put us in boxes away from him. As became clear when, for a school project recently, he drew his family with just Dad and Dad's wife, Remy Wasto the side but away from the 3, and Jaden Andy were completely separate. He told his teacher that we were adopted siblings but not really since we didn't have the same parents and how his real family was his mom and dad. This is when Dad commented to Jaden and me that it feels like we're half siblings instead of just siblings. That our relationship is not what he thought it would be. I told him that that is because of his choices. That his desire to override Mom for Jonah, and for us to keep quiet around Remy unless she asked, means feelings and confusion have separated us. Dad told me it wasn't fair to blame him, and if Jaden and I had just been more open to a second mother, none of this would have happened. AITA?